Women more often than not just don't have the choice to form their own identity. I think that's part of the problem. I mean, the choice to perhaps redefine themselves. Maybe I was registered as this, I want to be called something else. I would prefer to be called. As we know now, we should not assume somebody's gender. We should ask what their preferred pronoun is. Now, these are things that are now at least being talked about, that women should have a choice to have their own identity within a marriage. You know, for instance, the fact that I kept my maiden name. I think legally, many places, for instance, I'm changing my driver's license, right? My license has expired. And on my license, it says W/O Amir Khan. So obviously now that I'm divorced, I'm applying for the change. So now I have to put my father's name, daughter of. You're always defined, your identity is always sort of defined by the men in your life. For most women, you're the daughter of someone or the wife of someone or the mother of someone. And usually the boy, obviously. If you have a son, it's legitimate, otherwise it doesn't count. So I think women's identity has never been quite their own to be able to define in the first place. And that should be the, sort of starting point of any conversation, is that when are we going to allow them to have that right?
That is a very fundamental question.
Yeah.
When it was all about physical power, so people would have gone out and hunted. So women anatomically are not stronger. So they were weaker section in that way. So they stayed home, did not go out and hunt. But the world has undergone a metamorphosis, right? We're not anymore driven by physical, brutal force. It's all emotional and psychological. But that change is not happening. And the crux of this imbalance is the financial independence, that disparity in financial independence. Like even if a career woman, when every child, ballpark calculation, every child that she bears, it takes her career back by about 5 years, 5 to 7 years. So they'll have to live with it. But will it change? Overall, I see things are not very hunky-dory in the world. I'm not a pessimist.
True.
Right? You have one-way global warming. We possibly have taken so much from the environment and given back so less, cared so less that it's hitting us back. There are wars happening across the world now, 2, 3. There are many other ups and downs. There are revolts happening. Things are not. So if you ask me, and I was writing a note to someone recently, and I borrowed the line from René Descartes that I think, therefore I am. So I wrote that line that I am, therefore you are. That should be the message from every woman to the men. And, unfortunately, I see sometimes women are also not willing to understand, live, and convey that to others. So I don't know how it'll change, but I have an hypothesis that if the world starts getting women-led, I think a lot of things will get corrected.
I 100% agree with you. I fully agree with you. I don't know when it'll change, because you rightly said, I don't know how and when it'll change. And you're right, actually, we were having this conversation earlier about it being conditioning, the fact that women adopt and tend to take on all these roles because they're expected to, and then feel like they're super women because they're also working and they're also managing home and this multitasking they take as actually a sort of a superpower rather than exploitation, if you ask me. Exploitation, straight up. The fact that in economic circles, people are constantly talking about why more women are not part of the workforce. I want to ask how we will have a world if all women just joined the workforce and didn't actually weave the fabric of society by running homes, doing some of the most difficult and unpaid labor of this world, especially in our country, where even farming is done by a majority of women. The hard labor is done by women.
Yeah.
So it's, which is why what Manjumai says comes back to me time and again. It's a fraud.
Yeah.
And women have to grow up and realize and open their eye. Yeah, women have to, and the men like you and other men who see this sort of inequity and injustice that's being done towards women, speak for women, speak with women.